Is this cool?
Alright, everybody, so once again, there is patients over that's perfectly fine, that is up to y'all. But where we're at right here, this is 108 feet below the natural bridge. Now, of course, as y'all were heading down, you'll notice the exit discovery crawlway was at the top of this room. That is how the explorers made it down here. Now, the way that we took, that was later on developed during cave development, just to make it easier on groups to get down here. Now, of course, the first thing that our cavers saw when they come into this room were these formations right here. Now, when they saw this, they felt like they had just come into the underworld, which technically they kind of did, and they wanted to give it a unique name. So they landed on Pluto's Anarum. Now, that name broke down for y'all. Pluto's the first part. That is the Roman god of the underworld, and Anarum, that is Latin for a smaller room leading into bigger rooms. So, hint, hint, the rooms will get bigger as we go down through here. Now, of course, in a cavern, you're going to have a lot of different formations, and they all have unique names. But there's only two types. So you either got a dripstone or you've got a flowstone. So I like to start with dripstone. So if you look at the ceiling, and you notice, I think you did it right. There we go. If you see all these pointy things hanging down right here, those are what we call stalactites, because they hold tight to that ceiling. Now, any of the skinnier stalactites you are seeing up there, those are called soda straw stalactites. They are actually hollow on the inside and the water flows through the inside of them, but it makes them extremely fragile. Now, any of these ones growing from the ground up, those are what we call stalagmites because they might reach the ceiling one day. And then, of course, here in the center, that is a stalactite and a stalagmite that has grown together, and it is called a column. Now, of course, let's talk about some glowstone. So if you look right over there on that wall, you notice that it looks like someone's pinched it and it's coming out. That's what we call cave ribbon. Now, as cave ribbon continues to grow, eventually it's going to start coming off the wall, kind of like right here. And that is called cave curtain. Now, of course, for everybody back here, I have a cave curtain right there. Now, as cave curtain continues to grow, eventually it will touch the ground, just like this right here. And it is just like your house. So if you have curtains that touch the floor, they're no longer curtains, they're draperies. So that is called a cave drapery, little home decor in a cave. Now, of course, with that being said, a little bit about how, let's talk a little bit about how these things are actually created. So as it rains outside, that water is going to seep into the soil and it's going to pick up CO2 from dead animals and decaying plants. Now, what that's going to make is a weak carbonic gas. It's kind of like your carbonated water in the soil drains. That's going to come down into the limestone, and once it gets down into the limestone, it dissolves that limestone, picking up what we call calcite. Now, of course, that's going to come down into the cavern. Once it reaches here, that CO2 is going to be released into the air, and then that calcite is going to be deposited in either a flowstone or a dripstone pipe. Now, it takes a very long time for these things to grow, so I'm kind of curious, except y'all too. How long do y'all think it takes for 1 inch of a formation to grow? I'll give you a hint, it's years. What do y'all think?
75. 200.
100 years.
100?
Two of you are right. Which one do y'all think is right?
I said 75, I don't know.
75? You're close. Ah, there we go. So there's 3 people now. So on average, it's 100 years per 1 cubic inch. So think about it this way, your ice maker making 1 cubic inch ice every 100 years. That's essentially how long it takes. It takes forever. Now, of course, with that being said, I'm sure you are curious about the black spot above my head right here. That is actually an old bat roost right there. That's where bats used to sleep upside down. Now, the reason it's black like that is actually from their paws. They're a mammal just like us. They have the same oils and dirt on their paws as we do our hands. So they've actually harmed that formation right there and it will not grow. Yeah, that's a good visual to show y'all that. This could kind of let y'all know what would happen if we go around and touch everything in here. We turn to cave life. We definitely don't want to do that. We want to keep it presentable for future generations to come in and enjoy it like we are today. Now, of course, with all that out of the way, does anybody have any questions? There's a lot of that poop in this cave. For example, right behind everybody on the rocks, that black spot, that is 5,000-year-old bat guano right there. Bat guano is actually bat poop. What you got, baby? Not a bad name. All right, guys, so the next part of our tour is actually going down the switchbacks right over there. These switchbacks are gonna be a 72-foot